Welcome back to my YouTube channel Numa's Vault Treasures. What if I told you, the humble penny sitting in your drawer right now could be worth more than a luxury mansion? Yes, you heard that right. A single 1964 Lincoln penny, once worth just 1 cent, is now valued at a staggering $793,000. Now, before you rush to check your piggy bank, let me warn you, millions of people think they have it, but almost no one actually does. So, before you flip over every penny in your house like a detective at a crime scene, let's uncover what truly separates this $1,000,000 coin from the ordinary change in your pocket, because the story behind the 1964 Lincoln penny isn't just about metal and mint marks. It's a story about history, mistakes, and unimaginable fortune hiding in plain sight. In 1964, America was in the middle of monumental change. The Civil Rights Act had just passed, the Vietnam War was escalating, and coinage was transforming under the nation's economic pressures. But deep inside the Denver Mint, something unexpected happened. A batch of Lincoln pennies, minted with the D mint mark, were struck using experimental dies with subtle variations, tiny imperfections, invisible to the naked eye, but priceless to collectors. Some were struck with double dies. Others showed a mysterious ghost image of Lincoln's profile, and then there were the off-metal strikes, pennies minted on bronze planchets meant for foreign coins. Those are the ones today valued at over $700,000. Now here's the $1,000,000 question. Literally, how do you know if your 1964 D penny is one of them? First, check for the D mint mark below the date, slightly tilted or doubled. Next, inspect the rim and Lincoln's eye. If you spot doubling, especially around the words "In God We Trust" or "Liberty," stop everything. That's your first sign of a rare die variety. Some collectors discovered these coins by accident during late-night coin rolls, garage sales, or even in old family jars. Imagine the feeling, turning over a penny, thinking it's worth nothing, and realizing it could change your life forever. But what if I told you, there's another hidden detail on the 1964 D penny that most collectors completely overlook? And missing it could cost you hundreds of thousands of dollars. So here's the secret most people miss. Some 1964 D Lincoln pennies were struck with transitional planchets, meaning they were accidentally made with metal from earlier years. These planchets give the penny a slightly different tone and weight, a difference of just a fraction of a gram, but enough to skyrocket its value from 1 cent to nearly $750,000. Now, if you're thinking, I'll never find one, let me stop you right there. Because collectors and investors across America are finding treasures exactly like this, often when they least expect it. Just imagine explaining to your spouse that your weekend coin cleaning hobby suddenly turned into a $793,000 payday. See, honey, I told you my coin obsession would pay off. But here's where the urgency comes in. Each year, fewer and fewer of these coins remain in circulation. Collectors are snatching them up, and every penny that disappears into a private collection is one less chance for you to find your fortune. The window is closing, and when it closes, the next person to sell one of these rare 1964 D pennies could very well walk away with your dream. But if you take action now, if you start looking, researching, and learning what to spot, you could be the next American who turns a single copper coin into a legacy of wealth. So tonight, when the world quiets down, grab that jar of pennies from the back of your closet, because inside it might be the one coin that changes everything. After all, fortune doesn't always come in gold or diamonds. Sometimes it's hiding in plain sight, stamped with a tiny D in the year 1964. If this story inspired you, don't keep it to yourself. Subscribe to Coin Secrets, where every week we reveal the untold stories of coins that changed ordinary lives into extraordinary fortunes. What if I told you that one single penny, yes, a coin you might have dropped in a vending machine, could be worth $432,000 today? Imagine that. A penny that could pay off your home, buy a new car, and still leave enough for early retirement. And here's the shocking part, this rare fortune might already be sitting in your pocket change. So before you spend another cent, listen closely. Because today, we're uncovering the story behind the mysterious 1968 no mint mark Lincoln penny, a coin so rare, collectors are battling to get their hands on it. And no, it's not hiding under your couch next to that missing TV remote, although, you might want to check after this video. To understand why this coin is so valuable, we need to travel back to 1968, a year of change, ambition, and silent mistakes at the U.S. Mint. In 1968, Lincoln pennies were struck in 3 major locations: Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. Each location marked its coins with a tiny letter, the famous mint mark you see beneath the date. But here's where things take a mysterious turn. Some coins from that year left the mint without any mark at all. No D. No S. Just blank. Most people never noticed. They spent them, tossed them into jars, used them for coffee. But what they didn't realize is that those missing marks were worth a small fortune. And now, decades later, those ordinary coins are worth hundreds of thousands of dollars. So how did a minting error turn into a millionaire's dream? Let's peel back the layers. When collectors first discovered the 1968 no-mint mark pennies, chaos broke out in the numismatic world. Rumors spread across coin clubs, newspaper classifieds, and small-town auctions. Was it a mint mistake, or a secret experimental run? Because, let's be honest, government secrets and missing marks? Sounds like the plot of a Nicolas Cage movie. But here's where the story sharpens. Most 1968 pennies came from San Francisco and carried the S mark. Philadelphia coins, however, traditionally had no mint mark. That's normal. So how did this one become special? The answer lies not in where it was made, but in how it was made. A few rare 1968 pennies were struck using a unique die composition error, creating subtle differences in luster, edge detail, and thickness. These microscopic traits separate the valuable ones from the ordinary. Which means, thousands of collectors could be holding the wrong penny thinking they're rich, when in fact, they're not. But here's the twist, those who do have the right one are cashing in big. One verified 1968 no-mint mark Lincoln cent recently sold for $432,000 at auction. That's right, a penny that could buy a Ferrari. Makes you rethink that spare change jar, doesn't it? But before you start flipping every coin in your wallet, there's something crucial you need to know. The key to identifying a true 1968 no-mint mark rarity isn't luck, it's knowledge. Check the coin's details under good lighting. Look for sharp edges, full rim detail, and a clean strike. Most importantly, confirm it's a Philadelphia mint penny without any mint mark. Now, here's the insider's secret most people miss: certain variations with strong doubling on Liberty or the date can skyrocket in value. That's what serious collectors are hunting for. And the market? It's heating up. Demand for these rare Lincoln cents has exploded over the past few years, and each discovery drives prices higher. So if you're sitting on an old coin collection, or even a dust, what if I told you that the penny lying forgotten in your change jar could be worth nearly $600,000? Sounds impossible, right? But one man in Denver thought the same until he discovered a tiny 1976 D Lincoln penny that changed his life forever. Before we dive into how a simple copper coin became worth more than a luxury home, ask yourself this: have you ever checked your pennies closely? Because after this video, you will never look at them the same way again, and no, you don't need a metal detector or a time machine, just your eyes, a little curiosity, and about 10 minutes of your time. Now let's rewind to 1976, America's bicentennial year. The nation was celebrating 200 years of independence, disco ruled the radio, and the US Mint was in overdrive, striking billions of coins for everyday use. But amidst all the noise, the Denver Mint produced something extraordinary: a small batch of Lincoln pennies that would one day captivate the coin world. At first glance, they looked ordinary: a profile of President Lincoln on one side, the Lincoln Memorial on the back. But the difference, it wasn't what you could see, it was what you couldn't, because deep in the copper surface of a few of those coins, a minting mistake hid a secret, one that would remain undetected for decades. Fast forward nearly 40 years later. A collector at a small coin show in Colorado was flipping through an old bag of pennies when something caught his eye. The coin shimmered oddly under the light, slightly darker, heavier. Almost different. He bought it for just a few cents, and weeks later, after professional grading and authentication, that same penny was valued at $598,000. Yes, $600,000 for a 1-cent coin. Makes you wonder why we ever let the cashier keep the change, right? But what made this penny so valuable? What turned an ordinary Lincoln cent into a $500,000 treasure? Experts discovered this 1976 D penny wasn't just any coin. It was a double die error, meaning the coin was struck twice by the minting machine, misaligned just enough to create a shadowed, doubled image of Lincoln's profile and the inscriptions. To a casual eye, it's nearly invisible, but to collectors, that imperfection makes it priceless. Combine that with its immaculate condition, sharp strike, and unusual copper composition, and you have the recipe for one of the most valuable modern pennies ever known. Imagine pulling that from your old coin jar, that little copper disc that's been sitting in your kitchen drawer since the 80s, suddenly turning into a down payment for your dream home. Now, before you grab your magnifying glass and start tearing through your couch cushions, yes, We'll get to how you can identify if you have one, but let's first ask a question that most collectors never stop to consider: why are these coins surfacing now, after nearly half a century? As time passes, fewer uncirculated coins remain each year, more pennies get lost, melted, or simply vanish into forgotten drawers, the rarity increases, and with it, the value skyrockets. Collectors are paying record-breaking prices, not just for the 1976 D, but for other rare Lincoln cents. But the 1976 D stands out because it represents more than money. It represents timing, luck, and opportunity, three forces that define every great fortune story. Those who act now, who learn, look, and believe, are the ones who'll cash in on history's hidden treasures, because the window to find one of these in circulation is closing fast. And here's something few people know: there's a rumor among numismatists that another 1976 D variant exists. Point 1 with a hidden die mark, never publicly confirmed, never seen by grading authorities. Could that be worth even more than $598,000? No one knows yet, but it might still be out there, waiting. So tonight, when you're home, open that old jar of change, look closely, check every penny dated 1976 with a small D beneath the date. If you see doubled lettering, unusual color, or a strange shine, you might be holding a piece of forgotten American history. Point 1 cent that tells the story of patience, curiosity, and destiny, because sometimes the road to wealth begins with a single penny, and if you do find one, don't forget who told you first. This is Coin Secrets, where every coin has a story, and every story could be worth a fortune. Subscribe now, because the next coin we uncover might just be your $1 million discovery.